right now. We've been telling you about this all week long. I'm so super stoked to bring in WWE Hall of Famer Jimmy Hart. Yeah, Jimmy, what's going on?
Chucky, baby, it's all beautiful. It's that time once again this year. You know what it is? WrestleMania.
WrestleMania is coming up. Now, Jimmy, you've been in the wrestling world for how long?
Woo, longer than you. Sometimes I want to remember. Well, you know what? I started in Memphis, Tennessee, with Jerry the King Lawler, of course, and I guess over 30 years, about 33 years, 34 years.
Well, wait a minute, Jerry the King Lawler, one of the biggest names in the wrestling world ever, and you get hooked up with him how?
Well, believe it or not, we went to high school together. I went into music with the Gentrys, and of course he went into the crazy world of wrestling. And wouldn't you know it, we hooked back up years and years later. He wanted to do a wrestling album, so I helped him do that. And in the back of my mind, I really wanted to be in wrestling, but I really didn't say it because we were on tour with Dick Clark at the time and doing all the little tours back with the Beach Boys.
Two completely different worlds, huh?
It was crazy, and so it's really funny, and like anything else, when you have hits, you're traveling all over the world. When you don't, then you wind up back in Memphis playing the Ramada Inn going, hey, the more you drink, the better we sound. Hey, happy birthday to you. You know, these guys will know it. And so Lawler came out to see us one night after one of the matches, and he said, look, you know, you're in town now. Why don't you do some promotion for the wrestling with us, and then you can still do the band. And I said, okay, great. And so the next thing you know, I'm managing him at ringside, and 5 years later, all of a sudden, I had the magic phone call from Vince McMahon, WWE, and feet don't fail me now. I went to New York, and Wrestlemania One, and the rest is history.
Okay, Wrestlemania One. How many different wrestlers were involved in that?
Woo! Well, we probably had about 8 or 9 matches, so maybe 18 or 20 at the most. But, of course, Cyndi Lauper was there, Liberace was there. Of course, we had Muhammad Ali.
Captain Lou?
Captain Lou, of course, and myself, and of course I went out twice on that show. I managed Greg the Hammer Valentine, and also I had King Kong Bundy on the show against S.D. Jones, who later on I traded King Kong Bundy for Adrian Adonis and Dino Bravo. What a heck of a trade that was.
Wait. Do they do trades in wrestling?
Well, we did back then, baby. So whatever it takes to make a dollar, that's what we do. So it all turned out great for me in the long run. It was great.
Now, when you first came into wrestling, you weren't known as the Mouth of the South.
Well, in Memphis, I was the Mouth of the South, but up in New York, I was just Jimmy Hart, and then down the line, I noticed that everybody, Bobby the Brain Heenan, you know, Captain Lou, everybody had kind of a nickname, and so we started just doing that. And the way I got the name, I was with the late, great Andy Kaufman in Memphis, because Andy had come down to Memphis and was doing some shows with us down there. And one day we were doing radio, and in the same building we were doing TV in. It was FM 100 back then. And so we were talking back and forth, and every time Andy got ready to talk, I would interrupt him. But I was doing it more for an angle that we were doing on TV, right? And so with the DJ, they goes, hey, we should name Jimmy the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, because he won't let Andy talk. So I just thought, hey, that's pretty good. I'll use that for, you know. So that's how it really came up. So it turned out great back then. It really did.
How was it working with Andy Kaufman?
He was phenomenal. 2 things he loved. He loved Elvis. Every night after the show, we'd have to go by Elvis's house out in Whitehaven out there and look at Graceland, you know, just drive by the little wall. He always take pictures of it. And then he loved Buddy Rogers, the wrestler, the Nature Boy Buddy Rogers.
Okay.
And he always loved talking about him, and you know, but Andy was great. He I didn't know what yoga was back then, but he was doing yoga in the dress room 30-something years ago, you know, for 20 minutes before we'd go to the ring. But he was great.
Now it says here that you yourself were a wrestling champion.
I was the handicap champion because I really couldn't wrestle, so I used to always get in the crazy matches. I really never had any wrestling experience, even though they'd throw me in these crazy matches like 6-man tags, or if anybody beat so-and-so, Jimmy Hart would be let down from a little mouse cage on top of the ceiling of the Memphis Coliseum, and they'd get 5 minutes with me. So I always, you know, matter of fact, Jesse the Body Ventura and we had a match against Jerry Lawler and the San Diego Chicken in Memphis. And so, of course, Lawler and them won. I had to wear the chicken suit down Beale Street. So, but it was all good. We had a lot of fun back then.
Were you a wrestling fan before Jerry Lawler pulled you in?
I love wrestling. Back in the day with Dick Clark, and we'd do those bus tours back then. whatever city we'd go to, I'd always get the newspaper a day before, and I'd see Saturday morning, who's going to be, oh, man, we're in Charlotte. That'll be Ric Flair. Oh, my gosh, in Florida, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes would be on, you know. And so I'd always loved watching that before I really got into it. So it was
I was a big fan. My grandmother and I used to watch wrestling every Sunday. The likes of Pat Patterson and Rocky Johnson, Peter Maivia, all the Von Bronner
California. That was California territory back then.
It totally was.
So that was great.
To see the WWE, the WCW, the World Wrestling Federation, all those things get so big. I mean, it's got to be great for you.
Well, you know, it's been great. Plus, you know, by having a semi-musical career, like I said, we had a million seller called Keep On Dancing back in the day with the Gentrys, and had 4 albums out.
No, what did you do in the Gentrys?
One of the singers. You know, our song went, keep on dancing, keep on doing the jerk, shake it, shake it. You know, that was our big tour. But you know, we did Hullabaloo Shindig, Where the Action Is, American Bandstand twice, and my big thrill in American Bandstand coming from Memphis, our first tour up there, as we walked to do, you know, they filmed 2 shows a day. And so the first show, we were sitting in the dressing room, and all of a sudden, in there putting their makeup on, we went, oh, my God, look, that's him. I know it is. Oh, my God, who is it? You know, and it was Roy Orbison. Dun, 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 dun.
Whoa.
And so that was great. And, of course, a few years later, we did it with one of our other singles we had out. We did a remake of Cinema Girl, the old Neil Young hit, had a top 40 record off Billboard of that. And we were on the show with the Grassroots, New Generation.
So you're a rock star.
I don't know about rock star.
No, you're a rock star that comes to the wrestling world, and you become kind of a bigger rock star inside that.
Our music, you know, I found out that sometimes getting airplay off music doesn't really make you a little bit of money. But I tell you what, the TV rights really do. So Shawn Michaels, we wrote "Sexy Boy" for Shawn Michaels, and the Road Warriors thing at National Hall. We had the song for them too at WCW, the Wolfpack song. Did Hulk's American Made. We had all of Honky Tonk Man's greatest hits. But you know, we had so much fun just doing the music. We were kind of Weird Al Yankovic before there was a Weird Al Yankovic, because back in the Memphis days, Jimmy Hart's biggest hits like "We Hate School," Lance Russell's "Nose," you know, crazy stuff like that. So and Lance Russell, for those who don't know, he was a commentator for our show down there, so he was kind of like the Mean Gene of our era back before I went to New York.
You know, Mean Gene had a hamburger place here for a while in Fresno.
Did they go out of business?
Yeah, unfortunately they did.
I got to tell you, one time Mean Gene was up there, and I swear, true story, Mean Gene goes, don't be telling people that, don't be. But I remember we were in Minneapolis, and we were there, and this guy goes, oh, yeah, I ate at Mean Gene's place in Minneapolis, and, man, I had ptomaine poison. And so I told Mean Gene that. He goes, oh, don't be selling that. Don't be selling it. I didn't know if they were selling business or not, but, you know, that's what you call fast food restaurants. Fast in and fast out, right? It went down the drain.
Is this your first time in Fresno?
Oh, my God, no. Back in the day, we'd make a tour, like if we'd go to San Francisco, do the Cow Palace or whatever, and then we'd make a run, you know, Sacramento, Fresno, and back in those days, when you were out in, like we were in Los Angeles, you know, then we would make a little loop the whole rest of the week while we were out here, you know, because it was all driving a lot of stuff back then.
I hear some stories of these wrestlers back in the day having some extracurricular fun in Fresno after the matches.
Buddy, don't ask me anything like this. I am not guilty. I don't want to be involved in anything. I will not be part of any lawsuits. I don't want to be nothing. But you know what? This is what's so excited about this is like, have you ever had a chance to see our network yet?
I have, but I wanted to talk to you about Wrestlemania 31.
Well, I was going to lead into that.
Let's both lead into it.
Okay. Well, first of all, Wrestlemania 31. Glad to be around to be part of it. It's going to be Santa Clara, of course, and it's
Levi's Stadium.
Yeah, March the 29th. But it's a fun-filled week. It's just going to be so cool while we're there. It's got, you know, of course, we've got WrestleMania Access, which is where all the fans get to come and get autographs and see a lot of things that really took place.
With the wrestlers.
Oh, it's a whole week time. A lot of people get married at WrestleMania, believe that or not. But and of course we have the Hall of Fame, which is on Saturday night, which is great. And of course WrestleMania on the Sundays, with so many activities that everybody has fun doing. You know, that whole week while we're there, people plan their vacations around, and they come. You know, over 30 countries are involved and coming to see us each and every year.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know what it generated last year in New Orleans, but usually the economic impact usually has over $100 million in the cities we go to. So
that's amazing.
So it's crazy.
Is Jimmy Hart involved in WrestleMania?
Well,
near the ring?
we're always involved doing something at WrestleMania as far as all the publicity goes. The last few years we haven't really participated in anything. I'm trying to get one last match with Paul Heyman. If I can get one last match with somebody, it might be with Paul Heyman on that, as long as Brock Lesnar's not around the ring. But they know I've always got my megaphone ready at any time, baby. I'm always there. But we do the promotion from it and do autographs ourselves. And we have a thing like a couple of years, this past year we had the Legends House, which was on the network. And, Pat Patterson was involved with that. He was in it with us. And, of course, me and Gene Oakland. We had myself, Hillbilly Jim, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Roddy Piper, just to mention a few. Tony Atlas was there. But we had a great booth set up last year for it. So hopefully we'll have one this year, too. But going back to the network, what I was going to tell you, if you're short on funds, now's the time to jump in the network, because if you join the network now for $9.99 a month, just think you get the whole month, the rest of the month of November free, and you get Survivor Series free too. So just to let you know that.
Sounds like a great deal. And all that working up to WrestleMania 31.
It's going to be great this year.
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be
Jimmy
good.
Hart. Put it there, pal.
Baby, it's all good, Chucky, baby. It's all beautiful.
Thanks for coming by the Central Valley Buzz. You've made my millennium.
I want to hear some more music. I love those guys. They were awesome,
all right,
man.
Coming up later on in the show, more Cole Fonseca and Patrick Contreras music. Stick around. We got more great giveaways for you. Thank you, Jimmy Hart. We'll be right back.
Woo!
All right.